Did you know that the freedom to install your own EV charger could vanish in less than 18 months? The 2026 National Electrical Code adds a single sentence: permanently installed electric vehicle power transfer equipment shall be installed by qualified persons. And that small clause could criminalize every weekend wiring project. On June 20, 2025, delegates at the National Fire Protection Association's annual technical meeting voted down last-minute motions to delete the phrase, locking it into the next NEC. Because most states copy the code verbatim, millions of homeowners will soon need a licensed electrician for any hardwired Level 2 charger. Supporters claim lives will be saved. Critics warn the rule will drive do-it-yourselfers underground, skipping permits and safety inspections altogether. Let's unpack what the decision means, who fought it, and how you can prepare ahead, whatever driveway you call home in the USA. The NEC does not define what a qualified person actually is, yet building departments almost always translate the phrase to mean a state-licensed electrician. Practically speaking, every hardwired Level 2 charger, from a $350 Emporia unit to a $1,950 Tesla wall connector, will demand professional labor and a permit. Skipping either step can complicate resale, refinancing, or insurance claims because unpermitted electrical upgrades often trigger lender or insurer scrutiny, and coverage may even drop if a fire traces back to non-code wiring. Unlike low-voltage projects, 240-volt circuits fall under strict inspection regimes precisely because mistakes can start fires. The new wording hands inspectors a clear citation path and erases the wiggle room many homeowners have relied on since home charging became mainstream a decade ago. For DIY enthusiasts, that means the clock is already ticking on hassle-free installations for those who love projects. Although the NEC is only a model standard, experience shows states rarely resist its language. Mike Holt's adoption tracker lists more than 30 states using the 2020 edition within 2 years of publication, and over a dozen already migrating to 2023. Legislatures simply reference the document, leaving local inspectors to enforce the details. That pattern suggests the qualified installer clause will start appearing on permit forms shortly after the 2026 edition is released next January. Even if your state drags its feet, utility rebates usually peg eligibility to the latest NEC, so DIY installers could see discounts disappear first. Homeowners in jurisdictions still on older codes should view 2025 as the finish line for self-installation. Scheduling an inspection now protects warranties, resale value, and insurance coverage without running afoul of looming regulations for hundreds of thousands of EV enthusiasts across America. Opposition to the mandate came from an eclectic coalition that included Rivian, Tesla, ChargePoint, EVgo, the Electric Vehicle Charging Association, and budget-minded charger maker Emporia. Their letters argued that erecting a professional-only barrier could paradoxically reduce safety by pushing owners toward shortcuts. The most common loophole is simple: pull a permit for a NEMA 1450 welder outlet, pass inspection, then plug in a portable charger after the inspector drives away. Because roughly 80% of all US EV charging already happens at home, anything that discourages proper hardwired installs risks hundreds of thousands of invisible, overheated receptacles hiding behind garage clutter. The coalition urged the NFPA to focus on permits and inspections, not occupational gatekeeping, but the motion to delete Article 625.4 narrowly failed after a tense 2-hour floor debate that exemplified the clash between safety ideals and real-world economics for DIYers. That welder outlet workaround isn't just clever, it could become the default path. Water heaters, dryers, and stoves face no qualified person rule, so a homeowner can legally add a 240-volt branch circuit, label it for an appliance, and later repurpose it for charging. However, experts warn that plug-in chargers feed sustained high currents through receptacles never designed for continuous 40-amp loads. Contacts loosen, resistance rises over time, and heat builds quickly. Emporia's installation guides recommend that NEMA 1450 outlets be inspected and retorqued periodically, especially in regions where summer garage temperatures soar past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The irony, critics say, is that the NEC, intended to prevent fires, now incentivizes a setup statistically more likely to start one. Engineering safety back into garage walls will depend on electricians and inspectors willing to look past checkbox compliance toward actual behavioral patterns and habits. The attraction of DIY is often pure economics. J.D. Power's 2024 home charging study found that 84% of owners rely on Level 2 units, which can refill a modern EV overnight. A wall box costs as little as $299, but professional installation runs anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, according to cost surveys compiled by hardware maker FLO. For many households, that eclipses a month's mortgage payment, so weekend warriors break out conduit benders to save cash. Critics of the new rule argue that tacking electrician fees onto ownership undermines EV affordability, just as federal incentives phase down. With the average American commuting 41 miles daily, a home charger can deliver triple that range overnight for pennies, yet the NEC revision threatens to shift the savings equation back toward gasoline if installation hurdles balloon household budgets in the years to come. Separate from the installer debate, the 2026 NEC also locks in an additional 5 mA ground fault circuit interrupter on every EV charging circuit. It sounds great on paper, yet Tesla, Rivian, EVgo, and the Alliance for Automotive Innovation warned that layering two protective devices in series invites nuisance trips. Laboratory testing cited by engineers shows wet cables or normal battery balancing currents can mimic a 5 mA leak and instantly cut power. Resetting a breaker is trivial at home, but a nightmare at public stations where panels sit behind locked utility rooms. If a family returns from skiing to find their car uncharged because the breaker tripped during a snowmelt, confidence in electrification erodes faster than any safety benefit can accumulate, especially during winter travel periods when chargers already face heavy demand across the network of fast-charging sites throughout the country. Public networks are bracing for similar headaches. ChargePoint and EVgo engineers reveal that a 5 mA threshold causes nuisance trips on 150 kilowatt fast chargers exposed to rain and road salt, each requiring a manual reset. Truck roll expenses stack up quickly, and those unplanned costs threaten uptime metrics and pricing models. Station owners warn that added maintenance may push session fees above gasoline just as they were inching toward parity. Worse, fleets relying on overnight depot charging could wake up to rows of disabled vans, triggering late deliveries and contractual penalties. Industry groups argue that the existing charge circuit interrupter inside every UL-listed charger already provides shock protection, making the extra GFCI redundant. Nevertheless, NFPA delegates rejected the plea, setting up a nationwide experiment in real-world reliability economics across suburban retail lots and interstate rest stops starting in 2026 for electric road trips. So what should current or future EV owners do? First, verify whether your locality enforces the 2023 or 2020 NEC. If so, you may still self-install provided you pull a permit and schedule inspection. Second, plan ahead. Electricians report a 2-week backlog today and expect months once the 2026 edition drops. Third, budget strategically. Many utilities offer rebates covering up to $500 of professional labor when an invoice includes permit documentation. Fourth, document everything. Photos of conduit depth, torque on lugs, and inspection tags, because that paperwork satisfies buyers, lenders, and insurers without attic crawls. Finally, if you insist on plug-in flexibility, choose outlets rated for continuous duty and periodically check temperatures with an infrared thermometer. Catching a loose connection early beats rebuilding a garage after a midnight arc flash that could ignite studs and turn insurance claims into nightmares for families. Could states ignore the qualified installer clause? Yes, in theory, code adoption is a state right, but precedent shows most jurisdictions simply copy the NEC. Arizona's 2017 tweak to garage ventilation rules took 2 legislative sessions, illustrating deviations cost in staff time and political capital. With federal incentives riding on safety rhetoric, lawmakers are more likely to streamline compliance than gut the rule. California's AB 1236 and AB 970 already force cities to approve home charger permits in days, while Colorado's electrical board updated its licensing exams to the 2023 NEC within months of adoption. These moves show that boosting skilled labor and simplifying paperwork can protect safety without strangling growth. Whether other states replicate those models before 2026 will decide if the new NEC feels like a roadblock or a well-marked detour on the highway to electrification for homeowners, installers, utilities, and the clean energy market alike. In short, the 2026 NEC doesn't merely tweak wire gauges, it rewrites the social contract among drivers, electricians, and regulators. Whether you love tinkering or simply crave affordable charging, the countdown has begun. Map your plan, gather quotes, and file permits while the door is still open. If you wait until the code is law, the labor squeeze, higher material costs, and extra paperwork could turn a weekend project into a four-figure headache. Remember, electricity is silent but unforgiving. Done right, a level 2 station quietly delivers 30 miles of range per hour. Done wrong, it can turn drywall into kindling. Staying proactive now means rolling out each morning with a full battery, a clear conscience, and the satisfaction of knowing your charger meets today's safety standards and tomorrow's rules without sacrificing the DIY spirit that powers innovation in garage projects everywhere. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here.